Okay, my name is Richard Stevenson. What I want to talk about is my experiences in Canada, actually in Ontario, Canada. Coming out of London, England, I went to London School of Accountancy, did the ACCA exams, excited, got to Canada, looking for my first job, and I do remember the company I talked to was Dunwoody and Company. They offered me 14,000 Canadian dollars. I still remember today, $14,000. I'm coming from Jamaica. I'm going to work for $14,000. Oh my God, it's going to take me forever to get anywhere. So I looked at what I could do else. What else could I do? And I always grew up with a real estate background, so I decided sales would be it. I had a friend of mine who worked with Encyclopedia Britannica, and I'm telling you, no amount of university, no amount of education taught me what this job taught me. So we'd go from, if you know anything about Encyclopedia Britannica, it's in-home selling. We would go door to door, from home to home selling. I actually remember going way up, I can't remember the name of the city now, but it was Booneyland. It was Booneyland. No, you see, look at me. Nobody had seen the likes of me in those areas. So I remember I went into town, and the first thing I did was I checked in with the police station. I made certain to let them know that I was in town, and I would be running around trying to sell door to door Encyclopedia Britannica. But I tell you what it did for me, and years later I came to the CPA and I wrote the exams. But this whole training taught me that one day I would be the boss of my own company. I would move from being a CFO, or in those days it was auditing, from being auditing to owning my own company. Those days in Toronto selling Encyclopedia Britannica taught me what motivated people. In each household that you go, when you sold to the Middle Eastern person, it was a different sell versus when you sold to the farmer, versus when you sold to the Canadian themselves. Each person's motivation for buying the set was completely different. I remember we had 3 different binders. There was a binder for $1,500. The content was exactly the same. There's a binder for $1,500, there's a binder for $5,000, and there's a binder for $10,000. And believe it or not, there would be people who would buy the $10,000 binder. For example, exactly the same content as the $1,500 binder. But it taught me the key thing was what motivated people. Why would you buy? And it's the same thing that anchoring teaches you. Anchoring, and it's funny, I met Stu years later, and he started teaching about anchoring. And it brought me back to, wow, it's basically the same thing. How do you get to what motivates that person, and how do you get them to agree that if you can solve that issue, that they would do business with you? So the next time you're in front of someone and they're saying, no, 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 step out of it. Don't get drawn into the emotion. Step out of it and say to yourself, what is the real reason? Where's the real person? What's the real reason behind this no? Because generally what you're hearing is not the real objection. It's what's the fear. And this is where anchoring comes in. This is where you get to what's the real reason behind what someone is saying. And once you get to that real reason, then you can begin to move forward, because now solutions become real. So the next time you come up against a really difficult person, step back and ask yourself the question, what am I really missing here? And now, Stu, you can teach them anchoring.